Hello and welcome back. Today I'm just going to do a short video. I'm going to show off a little bit of progress that I've made over my Minecraft building career, showing off a few different theaters that I've done. This first one is in a city that was supposed to be somewhat like London. This was a long time ago before I really had any ideas of how to build on a large scale. And the theater is very plain in design. You can see inside it's a little cramped with the staircase going up, and some of the elements, like the chandelier, they're a little blocky. This was also back before trapdoors could just be placed on their own. They had to be on a block. So you can see I had them on slabs here as balconies. And actual seats I have represented by stairs that are set back from there. So it's a little clunky, but it was my first attempt at trying to make a theater. The idea was being something like an opera house with a lot of stage space. Now, here we have another one that I worked on. This one was meant to be somewhat like the Estates Theater in Prague, where they filmed scenes from Amadeus in. And you can tell a similar idea. You walk in, there's this large well going up the staircase. And then in the actual auditorium, once again, you have the trapdoors set around slabs to act as balconies, just with a little bit more space, a little bit of a larger scale this time. Though not a whole lot of ornamentation, you can also see that the stage is very shallow. This would not really work for an opera house because an opera house requires a lot of space for backdrops. Here was another similar design that I had worked on. And this one, I got a little crazy with the stairs. I never even put railings on them. And then going into the auditorium, you can see I went with a different style this time. I had trapdoors going all the way around with, instead of columns holding up the balconies, we just have these nice little posts. And structurally, most of what's holding up these balconies, these galleries, are the walls. Here we have a little bit of a deeper area for the stage. We have a very large nether portal deactivated there. But then moving on to something that was my first real attempt at making a monumental theater space. This was actually built with the idea of having rooms, performance rooms, practice rooms, offices, things besides just the auditorium and the lobby. I tried to do it in a Second Empire style to complement the Eisenhower Executive Office building that I built this next to, just with slightly different colors. You can also tell from the shape of the building that it's very large and there's a lot of backstage space for this opera house. Here we have the back, which actually in my world faces the reflecting pool that runs between the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument. You can see we have a dome here. This dome lines up with the domed ceiling of the auditorium. Similar to the Palais Garnier, this was heavily inspired by the Palais Garnier in Paris. And once we go inside and take a look at the central staircase, it should become very apparent. Although this was built to be somewhat fantastical. And here you can see the staircase really kind of just flies up in the air. It's almost a little dangerous looking how high this staircase goes and how high it is over the floor. You'll also notice these mezzanine levels are a little clunky, and we have a lot of levels for the galleries here. Very large polychromatic dome, definitely enough backstage space here to have all of the backdrops and everything else you would need for an opera production. And lots of seating here on the floor. Now it is definitely symmetrical and built with a regular pattern, Although I think that this might be a little bit too big. You sit in one of the seats back here and you can hardly see the stage. This is, I think, something that went a bit too far beyond. Um, Now we're going to take a look at the Palais Garnier, or at least the version that I built. This I did not use the exact um, dimensions for, and a couple of things are just a little bit off, but I did generally follow the floor plan. Now the Palais Garnier, this build, like the real one, has plenty of office spaces, rehearsal spaces, other things besides just the auditorium, the grand staircase, the foyer. We'll go inside and take a look at the grand staircase. This I did work very hard to make an accurate representation of the real life one. You can see it's not too big. It's definitely large. It's definitely very opulent, but the details are what really make it more interesting. Same thing with the auditorium. See, we have this domed ceiling. We have all of these galleries. I do think that this is slightly larger than the real life one. The scale is just a little bit bigger, I believe, but it's definitely a smaller scale than the previous opera house that I showed off. And like I said, a lot better attention to detail. The colors are a bit more harmonious. We have a lot of nice red to represent carpeted surfaces. And now let's just take a look at something that I've been doing this week. It's not finished yet. It's Symphony Hall from Boston. Now this is not an opera house, it's a symphony hall. So the stage does not need to be as deep as one for an opera house. You just need a performance area for the artists. This I did look at the plans and try to make it consistent with the real life one. So some of my earlier opera houses, even though they had small stage areas, they really worked better probably as symphony halls rather than opera houses. Well, I hope you enjoyed the quick look at some of the things I've done. Please check out my other videos. Thanks for watching.